I'm Stewart Boyles. I'm the head chef at Wishart at Loch Lomond. I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada. I came over 6 years ago to work with Martin, and in 2008 I assisted Martin in opening Wishart at Loch Lomond at Cameron House Hotel. The dish I'm going to do for you today is a mosaic of St. Bride's confit chicken, smoked Orkney ham and foie gras with a creamy walnut vinaigrette. The ingredients in this dish are some foie gras, some black trumpet mushrooms, some king oyster mushrooms, some smoked Orkney ham, some confit leg of St. Bride's chicken, some fresh Savoy cabbage, and a bit of just chicken jus to bind the whole thing together. There's a lot of great producers available to us in Scotland. One of the producers we use for this particular dish is St. Bride's Farm Chicken from Straven, South Lanarkshire. They're produced by Robert Morris, who's got a farm there. He produces a 14-week reared bird as opposed to the usual 5-week, which gets a little bit more exercise and has a bit of flavour. Now, another producer we use for this is Donaldson's Butchers of Orkney in Kirkwall and Orkney Islands. Now, they produce for us a smoked Orkney ham. This particular ham has a very distinctive flavour and a very distinctive texture. It's cured with whiskey, brown sugar, salt, and it's smoked for 2 weeks. It's cured for 2 weeks and then smoked over whiskey barrels for 2 days in a cold smoke. Now, they use a very tender part of the leg called the chump or the rump. It's not a traditional cut, but it's a very tender muscle off the leg, and this is what we're going to use today for the terrine. Now, for the first part of this dish, we're going to confit the chicken legs. Once they've been removed from the birds, we're going to take them, just season them with a little bit of table salt, sear them off to get a bit of colour to render some of the natural fat off of the leg. And once they've got a bit of caramelization, we're going to add some of the duck fat, a bit of garlic, and a bit of thyme. We're going to cook those for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the leg. And once they're tender, we're going to remove them and we're going to pick that meat down. Now, once that meat's been picked down, we're going to add a little bit of gelatin, truffle oil, gelatin that's been put through some jus, a little bit of chicken stock if it needs it for moisture, and we're going to flavour it with a bit of salt, a bit of pepper. And once it's ready to go, we're going to roll it out on a solid tray till we get the desired thickness. We're going to set that in the fridge overnight. Now, for the foie gras, we actually make a terrine of foie gras where we take a couple lobes of foie gras, we bring them to room temperature, we take the vein out, season it with a bit of pink salt, sugar, pepper and table salt, marinate that with a bit of port, Madeira, and let that sit for 1 hour. And once that's been cured, you want to put that in the oven at 90 degrees for about 3 minutes till it becomes soft. Strain off the liquid and then add that into your terrine, close that and press that overnight, and that will create the layers for the foie gras of the terrine. Now, for this dish we're going to use a Savoy cabbage, but you could use a pointed cabbage or any soft cabbage leaves that you like. We take the cabbage, we peel it down, we cut the core out, and in some boiling salted water we just cook it till it's tender and let it air dry so not to wash off any seasoning. I'm going to use some mushrooms, and I've decided today to use king oyster mushrooms and black trumpet, mainly for the contrast. The other thing about the king oysters that's really good is you can cut them long, and when they're cooked and you lay them in the terrine, you get a long slice, and every time you slice through you get a freshly cut piece of mushroom in the terrine. Now, when you go to prep these, obviously the king oyster mushrooms need to be washed and dried. The black trumpet, you need to take a lot of care to get any sticks, twigs, dirt out of them that might be sitting in them. When they come apart, you want to get them good washed, dried, ready to go. Nice pan, hot, with some butter in it, some shallots, some garlic, and just saute the mushrooms till you start to get a bit of colour. Season them and then just deglaze them with a bit of jus. Now, for this we've got Ewan Donaldson's smoked ham, and we want to take this and we want to slice it very thin. I just put it in the freezer for a while. Slice it nice and thin depending on the thickness that you want for the terrine. The jus itself can be anything, can be a veal stock reduced, a chicken stock reduced. We actually use a chicken jus that we make for our dishes. We take about 300 to 400 milliliters of this jus, add 3 leaves of bronze gelatin, and that's our glaze, that's the base that we bind the terrine together with. Now, when it comes to assembling the terrine, we want to take all of our components which we prepped earlier, and we want to get the terrine mold ready. Line the terrine mold with a bit of oil and some cling film, and start the terrine with the chicken layer. Now, take your 3 chicken strips which are in the terrine, cut them into the desired size to fit the terrine, and put them aside. You also organize your cabbage, your mushrooms, and have your ham sliced. The first thing we want to do is we want to put the chicken into the terrine mold at the bottom. We want to take some of our glaze, which is made with our jus and gelatin. We want to brush that and add the cabbage. Now when you're adding the cabbage, it's important that you dip the cabbage into some of the glaze to make a good binding agent for that layer. And the next thing we do is we slice a hot slice of foie gras, the hot knife, cold foie gras. We want to make sure that we melt the side of it so that when it attaches to the cabbage, it's slightly melted and sets. Next thing we want to do on top of that is heat up the foie gras, add some more of the glaze, and layer the ham nicely. The next thing you want to do after that is a bit of cabbage. After that, a good brush on top of the cabbage and layer the king oyster mushrooms long. Over top of that, you want to put the black trumpet mushrooms and another layer of the chicken which has been brushed. After that, we repeat the process going backwards. Another layer of cabbage, another layer of foie gras, another layer of ham, another layer of cabbage, mushrooms laid long again, and another slice of chicken on the top. Close the tureen, putting the cling film over the top. And for us, we use this in a vat pack bag and a vat pack machine, but this tureen can quite easily be done with another tureen or weight on top of it pressed overnight in the fridge. Now a nice thing to serve this terrine with is a bit of a walnut vinaigrette. I've chosen to do a creamy walnut vinaigrette, which is nice. A little bit of chicken velouté, or you can use a bit of reduced cream. Some vinaigrette gets emulsified into that, some walnut oil, and a bit of chicken jus just to add a little extra body to it. And then some peeled walnuts go through that, and that's what's quite simply served with the dish.
Good morning, my name is Cyril Le Bopin, sommelier in restaurant Martin Wishart at Loch Lomond. So for matching the terrine for the wine, I chose a wine from USA in California, Santa Maria Valley. Santa Maria Valley with the wineries Au Bon Climat, made by Jim Clendenin in 2008.